Recently, Pope Leo XVI has confused a lot of people. Twice, actually. The first one being the homosexual mass, which shocked a lot of people, and rightly so. Like, what were you thinking, Holy Father? Like, I don't know what he was thinking. Well, I do know what he was thinking, and he wants everyone to feel included. He wants everyone to feel welcomed in the church, and that's great. I do too. And they should. We want that. But there's a right way to go about that, and there's a wrong way to go about that. And these people are allowed to receive communion in sin, in relationships, everything that the church condemns. So we're all for welcoming people, but we have to do it in the right way, in a godly way, in the way that the church approves of, because otherwise it sends bad messages that this is okay. But in this video, I want to talk about how Pope Leo seems to be continuing Pope Francis's unhealthy trend of doing off-the-cuff interviews, which is always problematic, many times. The problem with off-the-cuff interviews is that you don't always say the right thing because it's off the cuff. It's not prepared. And as the Pope, as the head of the world, the head of the church, you need to have exact, precise language so you don't confuse people. And many, many interviews are becoming imprecise and even inaccurate. And what people don't realize is that, and here's where many of the confusions lie, is that a pope's opinions in an interview are different than the teachings of the Catholic Church. When he gives his own opinions in an interview, he's not giving the teaching of the church. He's not giving the official teaching of Catholicism. But many people think it's Catholicism because, the Pope said it. Just because the Pope said it doesn't make it true. There's a wide range of authoritative statements that a pope could make, all the way from his opinion, which carries no weight if it's in an interview, literally. And this is what you Catholics need to know, and non-Catholics. An off-the-cuff interview carries with it no magisterial authority, meaning it doesn't change church teachings. It doesn't change anything. So all these people are saying, yes, immigration is finally now on par with abortion. We've told you forever that you can't just talk about abortion being the number one moral issue. There are other important issues just as important as abortion. First of all, the Pope didn't say that, and we're gonna see that. Second of all, the church doesn't teach that. Third of all, nothing was changed because he was just giving his opinions. And this is the problem, is that it leads to confusion when you don't say things precisely or accurately. So much so that I was in a discussion with a priest the other day. I was literally arguing with a Catholic priest online because he's sitting there saying, immigration, we've told you forever, it's all about immigration. Immigration is as important as abortion, and on and on. And quite frankly, he said, Jesus never mentioned abortion, and the Bible doesn't mention abortion. Show me one place in the New Testament where abortion is mentioned. I said, oh, whoa, that's what got me. I said, okay, Father, you want to go there? Let's go there. And so I said, let's start with commandment number 5. Thou shalt not kill. I think that covers abortion pretty well. I thought it was case closed. Problem solved. No. He said, Jews back in the day would not have taken it that way because many of them didn't know when life started. And, the early church fathers didn't really know at the moment, life started. And I'm saying, Father, none of that is necessary because we're not living 2,000 or 5,000 years ago. We're living today. And scientifically, we know that abortion kills an innocent life. People knew that long back then. All the early church fathers taught this, Father. So what's the problem? He said, yes, but Jesus was Jewish. And Jesus, as a Jew, they didn't necessarily believe that. And he was going on and on. I said, Father, let's back up. Thou shalt not kill. You're trying to find every justification in the book, and I'm not sure why. It seems like you're lifting up immigration and capital punishment, and you're trying to downplay abortion as if it's not even a problem, as if you're not even pro-life. And he said pro-life means all life issues. I said, that's not accurate, Father. And this is what a lot of people don't know. They hear pro-life and they think it refers to immigration. They think it refers to gun control. This refers to many different things. But what we don't realize is that pro-life, the words pro-life, when they were coined, it was designated to refer to abortion. So that's what pro-life stands for technically. Could it refer to other life issues? On a lesser scale, yes, but pro-life refers to abortion and sometimes to euthanasia. And we can see this in the 1970s when the coin was termed by the U.S. bishops and by other Catholics in the day. They were fighting against abortion, and they didn't want to say, I'm anti-abortion, I'm anti-choice. We're not pro-choice. We're not pro-abortion. We're pro-life. So this was an abortion argument. So when you use the words pro-life, it's referring to abortion, not to all things. And we can see this in many different church writings and documents. And in fact, you can just look in a dictionary. If you look in the Merriam-Webster or Cambridge or any other Oxford dictionary, it's the definition of pro-life is against abortion or opposing abortion or anti-abortion. So it's synonymous with being against abortion. That is what the term pro-life means, and we need to keep that in mind. Now, the Catholic Church does have documents where she says this. But with that being said, she also says that all life, which we agree with, all life issues are important, and we can't forget those other ones. We can't forget about euthanasia and death penalty and war and treating people kindly with respect, giving them a just wage to live so they don't have to live in subhuman standards. The documents of the church say, yes, these are important, but they are not on the same par as euthanasia or abortion, which are direct murders of innocent people. They say these are the preeminent and core foundational issues of which the others fall under. Like these two are held up here and all the other ones are down here. Important, but not as important as these, because these are the direct killing of an innocent human in the womb, a human that can't speak for itself, a human that can't cry out and advocate for itself. We must protect them. So even in church documents, and I'll read you one right now, by the bishops of the church who brought up this term, pro-life, while they were talking about how this primarily refers to abortion and euthanasia, they go on to say, this does not excuse indifference to those who suffer from poverty, violence, or injustice. Any politics of human life must work to resist the violence of war, the scandal of capital punishment. Any politics of human dignity must seriously address issues of racism, poverty, hunger, unemployment, education, housing, and healthcare. This is what the Catholic Church teaches. All of these things are important. But the rest of that was one paragraph. The rest of the entire document went on to talk about how abortion specifically is the preeminent subject in the core moral issue that needs to be dealt with because it's the direct killing of innocent human beings on a mass scale. Being mean to someone is not the same as killing someone. I would rather have someone be mean to me than kill me. Being mean to people is wrong. Treating them wrong is wrong. However, killing someone, especially if they're innocent, and for luxury and for really poor reasons, that's on a level all its own, which is why abortion is the only moral issue to carry with it an automatic excommunication for the person who has one, for the doctor who performs it, and for anyone who speaks out publicly in favor of it. They are automatically all excommunicated on the spot. That is how serious the Catholic Church treats abortion, and neither immigration, capital punishment, or anything else carries with it that automatic excommunication and being removed as a person who belongs to the church. So we could look at a whole long list of documents from the Vatican saying that abortion, and sometimes also euthanasia, are the preeminent moral issues of our day that need to be addressed. Not that we don't work on the other ones also. That's what we believe as Catholics. And even Pope Leo, in his statement, said that the church is clear on each of these teachings. So we already know, he knows, we know where the church stands. Even with immigration, when he was talking about it in his speech, he said, yes, abortion, yes, capital punishment. But if you listen to his speech, he says, I don't know if immigration is pro-life. But and then he goes on, we should still work to help people and that sort of thing. It's not technically a pro-life issue because it doesn't fall under abortion, which is the pro-life issue and what the word pro-life means and has always meant. It could be a lesser life issue. Yes, it is a life issue, but pro-life means abortion. And he says, I don't know if that is pro-life. Well, we do know. But, again, this was off the cuff, and I know from past experience, speaking off the cuff, sometimes, I say something that might be imprecise or inaccurate because, you can't prepare yourself for everything. And they caught him off guard. Like he laughed. He's like, oh boy, here we go. And I don't know if he really knew how to say, but he tried to give an answer, but ended up confusing a whole lot of people and ended up angering like a lot of bees, a whole bunch of people who don't care about the moral teachings of the church many times. They don't care about abortion. They don't care about euthanasia. In fact, they don't even believe in them. They're pro-choice. And they want to elevate to practically a place of worship, immigration, and other issues of gun violence and war. People were upset that this governor was being given an award even though he was Catholic and for abortion. He's pro-choice, which is against the Catholic Church. And again, if you teach it publicly, automatic excommunication, meaning you're not part of the church. And some people say, yeah, but he has a full card. I think even the Pope hinted at this. He has other things that are good to him. And I think Supich even said, there are other things. We have to look at the whole person. That's like going to Adolf Hitler and saying, you know what? We personally don't agree with what Hitler's doing to the Jews. We don't agree with him mass exterminating an entire race. However, we have to look at the whole person. He does good things. He's good in foreign policy. He's good at making automobiles. He's good at welcoming people and bringing the country together as one, unifying the country. And he's good at the economy. Those are good things, and we can't overlook those. They might be good things, but does anybody care about any of that? If someone's being mass exterminated, if we're for and okay with, complicit with, killing a lot of innocent people? No, nobody would care about these other things, not in their right minds anyways. So likewise, in general, we say, you know what? This is the preeminent moral issue. If someone is for this, that shows that there's something very wrong in their heart. If they can't protect the most innocent of people in the world who can't speak for themselves and are okay with them being killed, that shows a huge, deep moral character issue or a whole lot of confusion on the issue. So giving someone an award, I'm not going to dive into that, but the bottom line is people were upset about that for that reason. Far more children have been killed in abortion than Hitler ever killed by far, like millions and millions and millions and millions more than Hitler ever did. The Holocaust that's happening today in America is much bigger. So how can we say, oh, well, he has more on his card? Doesn't matter if he's not for erasing the Holocaust that's happening now, if he's not standing up against it. That is a preeminent issue right now. As a reminder, what Pope Leo said was not church teaching and was in contrast, or what sounded like it was in contrast to church teaching, which talks about these things pretty clearly. However, I think him and Pope Francis, they don't want to just lay down the law. I think they want to try to bring people in. They want to try to unite people. And they try to couch things. I think they try to make it sound more palatable. In doing so, they end up blowing things up and dividing people and making things worse. I think Pope Francis had a great heart. I think he had great intentions. I think he wanted to bring the people from the outside in, which is great. But in doing so, I think he confused a lot of people sometimes, especially when he didn't clarify his statements that led to confusion. And I think things like this, or the gay mass, as it's come to be called, they confuse a lot of people, especially when the Pope doesn't come out and clarify the statements. The Pope has said that one of his goals is to influence American politics. And I have to be humble and I have to be charitable and say that's not really your job, Holy Father. Most Holy Father, your job is to lead and guide the church into all truth, by the Holy Spirit. And to get sidetracked into politics and all these other political issues, which might be important, like treating people humanely and loving everybody. Those are important. But there are so many issues in the church that have been blowing up for a decade now and really need to be addressed. And corruption from the top down in the Curia and many other issues that I thought we were going to get addressed. And now we're talking about climate change. There are so many issues in the church that need to be addressed. And it just seems like we're focusing our attention everywhere else except for where it needs to be focused. And I'm not sure why that is. I feel like this statement was like, Pope Francis, who am I to judge? Who am I to judge, Pope Francis said. And everyone's like, yes, finally the Catholic Church accepts homosexuality. Finally, they say, we're on par and up to date with accepting gays and getting into modern society. Yay! And everyone was on board with it. And everyone took his words out of context, even many Catholics. even many conservatives, they freaked out from the other end of the spectrum and were criticizing and attacking Pope Francis when everyone ignored the clear context that he was doing no such thing. And if you read the context, he was not advocating for anything like that. And yet they took and ran with it. Same thing here. Everyone is taking and running with this, saying abortion's not as important as everyone thought it was. Euthanasia, not as important as I thought it was. All life issues are the same. The Catholic Church does not, has not, and will not teach that. There is a hierarchy of moral laws. Again, being mean to someone is not the same as killing them. So for all the people who have been yelling and screaming on social media and trying to say that, oh, see, we've told you for decades now and the Pope has proved us right. No, he hasn't. Because the Catholic Church teaching has not changed. The Catholic Church's position has not changed. Pope Leo did not change it, and he did not intend to change it. He's just trying to say that all life issues are important, but we know where the church stands, he says, and abortion and euthanasia are at the top. Again, the only one that carries with it the penalty of excommunication. They're not even in the same ballpark. One is extremely serious in the eyes of the church. As I said in that document by the bishops, the other ones are important too. But the primary focus, the moral foundation for all the others is abortion. And that's what the bishop said, and that's what the church has constantly taught. So we need to fight for all, and we need people in the church fighting for all. But to try to elevate some of them to the level of abortion, like that's being done in the country, just so you can advocate for yourself and justify your own social justice positions, when you want to ignore the moral positions, the clear moral instructions that killing is wrong, and other such things that you'd just like to ignore or just wish that weren't there, it's not going to happen. They're not, and they will not be on par with each other. And all the people are yelling and screaming, see, the Pope says this, the Pope said this. The Pope didn't change anything. He didn't change anything. The Catholic Church still teaches the exact same thing. Abortion is always wrong. It's an intrinsic moral evil. We have to fight against it. It's a core foundational issue. And other ones are important as well. Thank you for watching today. This is a very sensitive topic. A lot of people think that, standing up for the rights of animals is on par with standing up for the right of humans. It's not. Human life comes first. The Catholic Church doesn't teach that killing animals is always intrinsically evil, but it does teach that abortion is intrinsically evil. Even down through the history of the Catholic Church, it has not taught that capital punishment is intrinsically evil, but it teaches that euthanasia and abortion are always intrinsically evil. And we could go on as well. Immigration and other political issues, those are social justice issues. There's no one way to fix those problems. It takes many people coming together, looking at each country, the laws, the circumstances, and finding the best, most loving, humane way to uphold the laws of the country and to fix the problem at the same time. And to address the fact that there's a lot of issues here that we need to look at from all sides. That's not easy. Whereas it is easy with abortion and euthanasia. Don't do it. Stop. It's wrong. Always. You can always see that why one is easy to fix and it's up here, and the other is not even remotely on that level because there is no one fix. There's no one way to solve the problem. There's many ways to solve the problem, and that needs to be addressed depending on the circumstances and the situations and the countries and the people and everything else. And that could be said, ad nauseum for all the other subjects as well. Thank you for watching today. We are Catholic Truth, the premier apologetics and evangelization organization to help you to know your Catholic faith, to love your faith, to live it, and be able to explain and defend it in a world that is just confused. And even many times in the church, from the top down, we are confused. We give the truth, the Catholic truth that does not need to be reinvented. It does not need to be qualified. We just need to give the truth that Jesus Christ and the church has taught for 2,000 years. We need to love and respect our Holy Father. We can't attack him. We can't start, saying that he's not Catholic and all these other things. We need to love the church. We need to protect and stand up for the church. And that's what we do here at Catholic Truth. If you ever have any questions, anyone from anywhere, at any time can come here to know exactly what the Catholic Church teaches, why, and how it can change your life. We bring many countless people back to the Catholic Church, and we prevent many people from leaving by giving them the truth, by sharing with them knowledge that sets them free, and they see the truth of Catholicism. So if you think our ministry is important and you want to see more of it and to grow to many more people, please support our ministry below. We're doing a campaign and we're looking for 100 new people giving $25 a month at a base minimum. That is what we need to continue and to keep going. Please consider giving $25 a month. If God has blessed you and you want to give 50 or 100 or more, please invest in the future of this organization as we are investing in the future of souls. Please partner with us, and thank you, and God bless.